Hello friends, welcome to another writing vlog. So I am in the middle of drafting my 8th drafted novel. I want to take a minute though to talk about my magical mystery. It was a young adult fantasy that I started the second draft for this YouTube channel. I crafted this YouTube channel in order to start that second draft as like a little motivation for me. And then I got halfway through draft 2 and I took a break because I got very overwhelmed and intimidated by that story. And I drafted another story, which was my 7th drafted novel, in all one vlog, and then finished that, and now I'm drafting this 8th novel. And a lot of people are probably like, what happened to that magical mystery? So I just thought I would fill you in. It's not gone forever. That's not the plan at all. In fact, I have been having like reinvigorated thoughts about it. Like I dream about that story, and I've been getting ideas that I write down. But I haven't been feeling like I want to work on it yet. So it's a young adult fantasy set in a magic school. It's a puzzle mystery. So there's like a lot of parts involved, which is intimidating. But I was halfway through draft 2, even though my draft 1 had like no connective tissue. It was quite a bad. It was like the worst draft 1 I had ever written. But what I think has happened is I haven't been reading a lot of fantasy, like I haven't been in a fantasy space, and so I haven't been wanting to work on writing a fantasy. Because usually what happens, like, if I read a bunch of mystery, I want to write mystery. If I read a bunch of fantasy, I want to write fantasy. But I've been in a contemporary space recently, so this book and the previous book that I drafted were both contemporaries. And that's what I've been, like, in the headspace of with my reading, which makes it also be the headspace for my writing. So I feel like that magical mystery is not, like, dead at all, like, even though it's been a while since I worked on it, but I need to get back into my fantasy headspace, so, like, when I start feeling like I really want to start reading more fantasy books, then I will get into the headspace and want to start working on my fantasy novel, if that makes sense. I'm just not there right now, which I think is fine. I've been in a contemporary headspace, so I've been writing contemporary books, you know? That's just how it kind of goes for me. And that fantasy, I think I take a lot longer to write fantasy books than I do contemporary books, just because there's a lot more, moving parts involved. Typically. So that's what's happening with that book. I just wanted to let you know that it's not like a dead and gone book forever. I have every intention of returning to that book as soon as I return to a fantasy headspace, I'm just not there right now, which is fine. So for this book, my goal is to have a 70,000 word draft by the end of January. I don't even know what today's exact date is, but we're closing in on the end of November. I'm at 25,000 words. Yesterday, I wrote 900 words. The day before that, I wrote 100 words, which means I pretty much just skipped a day of writing 1,000 words, which isn't good because, coming up on the holidays, we're going to have a lot of days where I just can't write at all. And so in order to meet my goal of 70,000 words by the end of January, I really can't be skipping days, for no good reason. And I kind of have, at least that one day, just because I'm really quite stuck in this story. And I know it's a typical place to get stuck in a draft, around 25,000, 30,000 words. And like, in the previous story that I drafted, the whole book in one vlog, I got really stuck around 25,000 words. But there's two differences with this book that make it an even worse type of stuck. And the first is, even though I had gone into that draft hoping to finish it in 3 months, and it actually took me 6 months, my goal again with this is 3 months, and I don't want it to take me 6 months. Like, I really have set this severe goal of end of January being done with this draft. I mean, obviously, I'm the one making that goal, but I really want to stick to that goal. So I felt a lot more leeway in my 3-month goal with my previous book than I do right now. I would like to be able to start writing books faster, because if I self-publish, self-publishing happens a whole lot faster than traditional publishing. So that's just been my goal, and I really, really want to stick to that goal. So I'm feeling kind of stressed and kind of down about the struggle. The second reason why this struggle is worse than it was in my previous novel was because, well, like, when I would read through the scenes of that previous novel, I, like, really enjoyed it. And, like, the problem was just that I had written a novella, and I needed more fleshing out. The problem with this story is it has no direction. And so yesterday, when I was reading through my scenes to try to, like, reinvigorate me to get writing again, I was realizing that I actually don't like a lot of this story so far. So it had the opposite effect. It was demotivating for my writing, which is not good. So there are actually only 2 scenes in this story of 25,000 words so far that I, like, really love. and they were the first two scenes that I wrote. Which is unfortunate. You know, I went into this story, I had these ideas, and I was just so into it, and I wrote them both, those two scenes, and those are far and away the best two scenes in the story, and I, like, really love them, but everything else feels, like, forced somehow, and, like, also flat. And I don't know what to do because I don't even know how to... I can't fix a problem if I can't identify what the problem is. Like, I don't know what is making the scenes feel so forced and flat. Is it a conflict problem? Is it like a lack of character development problem? I'm not sure. I'm kind of feeling like maybe it's not, and I don't know. I don't know how to fix it. I can't identify even what's causing the problem, so I don't know how to fix it. So I'm actually like pretty overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I'm at 25,000 words. Yesterday was the first day I read through like a significant part of the story and realized I don't like the vast majority of it. And I just don't know what to do now. And I'm concerned because usually when I get stuck like this, I have to like take a little break away from the writing and like wait for the good writing thoughts to come back. But I've set myself such a severe timeline that I don't have time. You know, I don't have, weeks to take away from this story and hope that I get some kind of good idea. So I don't really know what to do. I tried only once. Since I last talked to you using the treadmill desk, I wasn't writing, I was just treading, hoping to brainstorm and like be creative with the movement like walking usually does for me. But I walked for like 50 minutes and I think maybe it felt too much like exercise or something because I did not have one single thought at all. Like I was not in a creative brainstorming headspace. I was just like, I'm on a treadmill headspace. So clearly that's different from like a pacing in my room kind of flow state and also like walking in the neighborhood kind of creative state. I could not reach that creative state mindset at all on the treadmill desk the last time I tried. I'm gonna try it again, obviously, but I just don't know what to do. And like it could be a me problem, maybe I'm just in this creative lull right now where I'm not feeling creatively invigorated. And like nothing I do is gonna really fix it except for wait it out, which is a lot of times what I have to do when I reach these like, voids of creative space. But I just don't have time if I want to stick to my deadline. And I'm concerned because I really want to stick to that deadline. So I don't know what to do. I'm just concerned. So I think what I'm gonna try to do, perhaps today, maybe tomorrow, perhaps today, is rather than sit down and think like, I have to produce 1,000 words, I'm gonna try to sit down and think like I'm gonna waste today on my words and sit down and use my writing time to try to figure out what this story needs. Like what's causing this problem of feeling forced and flat. I need to figure it out. Is it a character problem? Is it a conflict problem? Is it the lack of direction? It could be, because I still really don't know what direction this story is trying to go. And I get intimidated by that activity because I know that when I sit down and like try to figure things out in a story, I'm not going to be producing words. And I set such a severe goal of 1,000 words per day that, making the plan to not hit that in a day is like slowing me down, making me overwhelmed. Even though I know that's what I need to do in order to start hitting 1,000 words again. It's just a conundrum in my brain, and I don't know what to do. This is also like a bad time of year to be trying this type of like very difficult challenge because I very much am affected by seasonal affective disorder. I got my sunlight, I've been taking vitamin D, but I have not been able to curve past the worst of it. I have been in a down place. I mean, I think I've got bear DNA in me because my body just doesn't want to be awake at all for these months of the year. I literally just want to sleep 100% of the time. And I don't know what to do to fix it. I've been trying. I got the treadmill desk, I got the vitamin D, I got the sun lamp. It's not working, it never works. I gotta force myself through it, and it's just really hard to be creative when you're also just trying to, like, be alive. So that's where we are. Welcome to the vlog. Okay, it is the next day, and we need to chit-chat, because I did not end up writing at all yesterday. It's like almost 10 p.m. now today, and I have not written anything. I am growing concerned about myself and the story. So part of me is feeling like I kind of want to give up on the story. writing. I'm having a difficult time. I know this is like a challenging time of year for me, both because it's winter and it's dark all the time and I'm, kind of sad. But the holidays are coming up and I tend to have like a lot of anxiety around the holidays, so I have been feeling that now. Thanksgiving is next week. I don't know. I have pretty intense social anxiety and like I gotta see all my extended family. The cat's trying to get in. And it's just hard, every year to be like, another year where I have not achieved my dreams of being successful at all with my writing. And I don't know if it's like a woe is me problem and I need to just buck up and like stop complaining, or should I give up, I don't know. So I've been writing now for like 12 years, been submitting for like 10, and I've had nothing but rejection. 100% failure. That's my success rate is a 100% failure, 0% success. And I don't know, like, is that a me problem? Where this is just the wrong dream for me? Like, should I stop trying? Is it normal to try for so long and never see success? I don't know. I'm feeling extremely defeated right now. And it could be because I don't like the story that I'm currently working on. It's a rough time of year, combination thing going on. I don't know. I'm feeling like I might cry. Because like my rate isn't very good either. Like, let's say I've been writing for 12 years. I'm working on my 8th novel, so even though it's like 7.5, can we call it 8 novels in 12 years? That's like a year and a half per novel, which is not even true because one of the novels I stopped halfway through draft 2, and this novel I'm like only a third of the way through draft 1, so like those don't even count as complete novels, both of them. 6 2/2 of novels in 12 years. That's like real slow. I don't know. I'm just feeling, I don't know. Like, when do you give up? But also, like, what would be left of me if I gave up? This is my one dream, I don't know. It's just hard. And, like, part of me feels like it's definitely a me problem. Like, I either need to just buck up and stop complaining, or I need to, come to terms with the fact that this isn't for me and I'm never going to be successful and just be okay with that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to write again today. I don't know. Every day that I don't write, I get further away from my goal of finishing this draft by the end of January. I don't know. I'm feeling very down right now. I don't know. I do have a Fiverr order to work on tonight, so I'm kind of hoping that will, like, get me all invigorated with my writing feelings. Because I do, like, so love working on Fiverr orders. I don't know. The whole concept of, like, writing right now is, like, making me sad. So I don't know. Okay, so it is now December 1st. It is the night time of December 1st. I don't even know how long it has been since I've written. I'm not even sure I want to know how long. I would say like at least a week. Probably more, I don't know. But I needed to take a break. So I'm still only 25,000 words into my story. Ideally, I've been hoping to write 30,000 words in November, but I don't know. I needed to take a break. I also haven't been thinking about the story at all during my break, and I'm not sure if that's a sign that, like, maybe I shouldn't be writing this right now. Like, maybe this isn't the story that I'm supposed to be writing right now. I don't know. What I'm gonna do right now is sit down with the story, open the document for the first time in who knows how long, and just start reading. Not having the intention of trying to write 1,000 words or like any number of words, but just read the story and try to identify, both places that I like and also what makes, like, maybe I can get some ideas for what's making the story feel so flat and forced. And I'm thinking it's a character problem. Because, like, in the last book I wrote in that Write a Whole Book in One Vlog video, those characters felt so alive and, like, rich and authentic to me pretty much from the get-go. Like, the second POV character I had to work to establish the voice, but, like, the character as a whole always felt like a true character. In this story, none of the characters feel developed or, like, none of them are, like, screaming to me, like, this is a person, They all feel kind of like underdeveloped side characters that I've, like, just thrust into the story because I needed some people there. And I've never written a story where all of the characters feel that way. I've obviously written stories where some of my side characters feel that way and, like, require some extra development. But I've never written a story where every single character feels that way, including my point of view characters. So I'm pretty sure that's why the story is feeling so forced and flat. I mean, it could be a plot problem because the story doesn't really have a plot. Still, it's kind of, like, directionless, But I feel like the plot would be more likely to emerge if the characters, felt more real and, like, had more driving personality goals and, conflicts and stuff. Right now, the characters don't feel like characters. They just kind of feel like a couple of personality traits, like, in a shell. And that's no way to carry a story. So I'm gonna read the story and just kind of maybe mark moments or something where they start feeling like really generic or flat, or like maybe I'll get some ideas for, like, what could enrich them. I'm not gonna go into it with the thought of trying to write 1,000 words or any words. Because part of my problem is I don't know if I get burned out really fast or, like, I get really overwhelmed. I don't know. After my break, I am feeling a little bit better in general. I'm not necessarily feeling better about my writing, but just, like, my general well-being. I am feeling a little bit better now after my break. I wish, see, this is part of my problem. I wish I didn't have to take breaks. And I know that's not realistic, like, I wish I could be like Taylor Swift and she's like, I cry a lot, but I am so productive. That is not me, and I wish it was me so bad, but, like, when I'm in a period of crying a lot, I'm just, like, fetal on the floor or in my bed, and I, like, can barely even function, so I'm definitely not being creative or productive. And I just feel like I wish I could be, and I also feel like because Taylor Swift can be, that means I should be able to be, which is an absurd thought, But I beat myself up for needing to take breaks, which is it's not healthy, and then, beating myself up makes me feel worse, and then I need to take more breaks. So it's like it's a negative type of spiral to be in. So theoretically, if I'm trying to reach 70,000 words by the end of January, I'm not too terribly off my pacing, but we're just gonna see, apparently I just work kind of slow, and I need to be less hard on myself. Okay, so have you ever heard of the movie Whiplash? It's from, like, 2016 maybe. It's got Miles Teller in it. According to my therapist, I talk to myself the way the teacher in that movie talks to Miles Teller's character. Which is kind of true. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it before, but, like, it's brutal in here. And I think thinking that way for so long in my life has led to a point where, like, maybe that kind of thought process has gotten me through, like, the majority of my life, but, like, over the last couple of years, I'm so intensely burned out that I just have no longer been able to, meet the ideals of that voice in my head. Which is unfortunate because I used to be able to, like, power through and, like, work constantly and, like, hate myself and always be productive and always be doing creative things. And I reached a point, several years ago where I just can't do that anymore. Like, I don't know what happened to me. I think I got really burnt out and then, like, never fully recovered or something. I'm not really sure, but so the voice in my head, which is already brutal, has been being, like, especially brutal these last few years because I've never been meeting its expectations. It used to be in the past, it was brutal, but sometimes I would meet its expectations, so it was, like, kind of okay. Now I never meet its expectations, so it's just, like, even more brutal all the time. And it's just kind of, not a great way to live, and it's also not very productive. So, like, not only am I trying, like, I'm not even trying really to be more gentle with myself and the voice in my head, like my goals, but I'm also just trying to, like, switch my whole mindset from, like, you're only valuable if you reach your goals and not, like, enjoying the journey of being alive. Because, like, my therapist was saying, I view relief and happy as the same emotion, which is not the same emotion, but, like, I feel relieved when I meet my goals. And I equate that to happiness. And, like, I feel like if I'm happy but I'm not meeting my goals, then I'm not even happy. Like, in my head, relief is the same and also better than being happy. So it's not great. I mean, that was an interesting conversation to be having, but it's also true, So I would like to experience more joy and fulfillment just from the process of creativity and writing, even if I'm not reaching my goals, or, like, even if I'm never successful. But see, I start thinking, like, my voice in my head starts saying, maybe some people are just never successful in their life. They never achieve their goals. And that's gonna be you. And I'm not sure if that's, like, what I'm supposed to be thinking. I don't know. It's all a new thought territory for me right now. But, yeah, I don't know. In general, I would like to be able to experience joy just from the process and not necessarily only when I reach my goals, because I don't even really feel joy when I reach any kind of goal. I just feel relief. And in my head, I have equated those two as the same, and they're not the same. They shouldn't be the same. Relief and joy are two different things. So we're going to see. This is all new. Maybe I won't be able to do it, and I'll just, fall apart and descend back into my black hole. And obviously just being told, this is what the voice in your head is doing to you. I'm like, that's kind of true, but, like, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to change it. And also, like when I start thinking, like, I need to just appreciate the process and, like, find joy in the process, the voice in my head is telling me that's because I'm giving up, because I'm not good enough to succeed. So it's a rough kind of goings on in there. But for now, in this moment, I'm going to just open my document and just start reading, just seeing how I feel in the story. Maybe I'll feel like this isn't the story I want to be writing right now, because I haven't been thinking about it, like, literally at all during my break. And, like, usually stories are, like, really alive in my head, and I, like, dream about them. And I have still been doing that for my magical mystery, and yet for some reason, I don't want to be writing my magical mystery. That book is still so intimidating to me that I don't want to be working on it during this time where I'm feeling already, like, kind of crushed. So I part of me kind of wants to feel, like, reinvigorated about this story, because I want to write it. I'm just not sure, like, it's just not speaking to me right now, and, like, I need to write it later. I don't know. We're just going to see how I feel when I read. I'm just going to start reading and just see how I feel. That's what I'm going to do. And I feel like the opening is going to be a good experience, because the last time I was reading through scenes to try to get reinvigorated about this story, 2 of the scenes, including the opening scene, I, like, thoroughly enjoyed. So I feel like that's going to be a fun process, and then, like, maybe I'll be able to see what the rest of the story needs in order to infuse that feeling of fun and interest in the rest of the story. I don't know. That's just what I'm kind of hoping to do. I'm just going to read right now. That's my only goal. Just read what I have and see what thoughts appear. And I will let you know. Okay, I've been reading for a little while, and I definitely think this is the direction I need to be going right now to get back into the story and writing. But I haven't really been getting any ideas, nor am I, like, seeing an avenue to deepen the characters and the story. The characters don't feel real to me, which is obviously a problem, and it makes writing hard, and it makes wanting to write the story hard, because I'm, like, not anxious to get back to a story, and I'm not anxious to get back to these characters, because none of it feels, like, real. It all just feels kind of like weak little things that are on paper that I put there and have no real purpose. So, I definitely am not going to be adding, I haven't written anything, I'm just reading. I'm not going to be adding 1,000 words today, not starting off December very strong, but again, I'm just trying to figure out a new process that does not lead to a constant state of burnout.